Yeah. So request all of you to keep in mute, and you can unmute while we go on so that we avoid some noises. So in 20 seconds, we start. Hello, viewers. Very good evening and namaskar. You are watching the Policy Times, and I am back with another web talk series with you. This is Ankita Bose, your host for today's evening. So, like we have been always talking about, new normal and everything. So, why don't we get into something specific? Like, are we actually embracing the new normal? Are we getting into it right? Are we doing things right? And how are various kinds of professionals and sectors coping up with new normal, and what has been the response? Are people really coping by this new normal, or they have just taken everything for granted, or maybe we have done something for the good and we have changed it? For that, we have today with us an author panel discussion session for all of you. And today we have with us, today joining in, we have Anil Kartikeya, who is an author and industry safety specialist. We have with us Deep Malhotra, who is an author of BrickCement.com and co-founder of Gemini Group and Backfriends.com. And we have with us Dr. Partho Dung from Philippines, and a scientist, entrepreneur, author, and an editor. And we have with us Akash V. Shivaj, who is an author as well. So thank you all for joining today, all of you for taking out time from your schedule. I'm sure you have lot of things going on in your life with your books and everything. So right now, I would like to know from you for the next some time, how has been new normal, treating you, and how you have been embracing the new normal and everything. So for starting, I would like to go to Dr. Partho Dung, and sir, if you could narrate to us and tell your views that how you think you have been embracing the new normal, and how you think people are actually behaving in this new normal. Over to you, sir. You're on mute, sir. So you're on mute. Yes, sir. Please.
Good afternoon, everybody there in India, and good evening to my friends, I think, who are joining possibly in the Philippines or Singapore places. Yeah. Thanks, Ankita, for having this opportunity. Yes, pandemic has been really a life changer for practically everybody, and to me also. But before I give a statement on how exactly it's been treating me, I will like to tell you exactly that we have gone back to the situation a few centuries back. That's where most of our ancestors would have faced like that. We are in a situation where we have limited transportation. We can travel wherever we want. We have limited food sources. We cannot get what we want. You know, we have diseases all around. We don't have treatment around. So practically we are locked down, exactly the same situation in few centuries back our ancestors would have faced. We have everything's been limited. We are all boxed down to a simple situation. But remember those days, 100 years back, people faced the same situation, locked, constricted, restricted, like what we're facing. But during the time, we had the possibly the best philosophers coming out of it, best of arts came out of it, best literature were written those days, best time of everything was best coming out. Religion, spirituality, philosophy, all evolved during those restrictive times when we were in pre-industrial era, isn't it? So restriction isn't holding us anyway. It's purely a mindset that we are restricted. Okay. So I still feel that I'm taking this entire pandemic from the mind point of view, from more of a thinking point of view rather than a physicality, more of a mind thing. So I have oriented myself into that. I have understood that it is purely a mind stuff. You are not actually restricted. You can do exactly what you want, and just think about those days and how we created fantastic things 100 200 years back when we were almost like this in this situation. So it's more of a mind game and a mindset. And if you are positive in your mind, possibly, I think no restriction. And authors like us, I think, except one of our friend here, I mean, everybody said that this is a good time that we found time to sit down and write and gain something and be friend with writing. So I think I took it on this positive note that yes, it was purely a mindset, and people need to change their mind to really be comfortable with it. So that's what I thought. I think.
I think rightly said that we have got a lot of time to, ponder over thoughts, work on our own self, and maybe work for all the pending tasks that we were having. Like you're talking about finishing books and everything. And then again, we have a lot of things that people are starting up new things as well, and new
Absolutely.
ideas are coming up.
Yeah.
So for some, yeah, indeed, this is not a time that we are rejoicing, but yes, we are utilizing it to the best, I think, and many sectors are utilizing this time as a boon and not really as a bane,
Yes.
right? So I'm sure you will
Right.
also agree with us.
Rightly.
And talking about this also, if we have to talk about the economy, I think for the reason which we had to start all these unlock and everything, because during the lockdown there were lot of losses that were incurring. So talking over business and how startups, young businesses growing, how they had faced a very heavy blow. So if we talk about that, I would like to go to Mr. Deep Malhotra and speak and ask from him that, how you think, according to you, you have been dealing, and you are a corporate person, you have been dealing with a lot of businesses yourself. How you think businesses in this time have been facing, this challenging times, and how you think entrepreneurs are somehow managing and coping up with it, and also adding to it, if you would add how you have been embracing the new normal. Over to you.
Thanks, Ankit. I guess I'm very much agreeing with Dr. Partho out here that it is something wherein, like, things are getting back into a pause mode, all right? And we are getting time to think about what we want to do in the future. So when you look at the business point of it, prior to the pandemic itself, the situation wasn't that great per se. If you look at couple years prior to the pandemic, situation was already slow. Now, what pandemic did is basically made it into a ground stop. It was totally stopped down for the last 4 months now. So we were very much in a pause mode. But what we need to do right now, I feel, from the business standpoint per se, is the recovery mode. And unless until we don't get into that recovery mode, I don't, because this is going to go on, like we said, and the topic of this panel discussion too, that we have to embrace the new normal. So this is the new normal. So unless until we don't accept it, we are not going to move ahead, or we're just going to sit and ponder and be in the pause mode. And that can actually, in the long run, cause a lot of trouble. So if you look at it per se for the business, it's been a challenging time. No one can say that it's great for business. It's really challenging. If you look at sectors like travel, you look at sectors like per se, even if it is restaurants per se, or even a construction line that you are in, everyone is facing this pain. Now, how do we get out of it? Like rightly pointed out, this is going to be the new normal. So what are we going to do? Are we going to just sit back and say that what do we do now? We can help it, and we're just going to be in the pause thing. It's not going to happen that way. I think the best way to go about is to get into the recovery side of it. And typically, I would say there are 3 points, just to sum it up in a way, that how, as entrepreneurs, we can manage this crisis. I think so is the discipline part of it. It becomes easy when nothing is working outside. Everything is at a standstill. You would just kick your shoes and say that, nothing is working. Let me just relax and be in a comfort zone, because there's no rat race going on outside. So you wouldn't want to follow your routine. Now, I guess discipline is the key factor here, because we are at our homes. We are doing our daily work, even if we are doing, but we need to follow a routine. So typically for young entrepreneurs, when they are basically building a business, discipline is something which is very important, with the focus for you to build in these key times. Second, which I feel in business, and it is a thought that I've seen, when you saw at the initial time of when in March, when there was a lockdown, there were a lot of these funds which were announced, and everyone was contributing to that funds. Everyone was putting in some kind of money and saying that, okay, fine, we put in that money. What I was shocked in the next month, a lot of these companies laid off people. Now, my point is that it is a scenario wherein it's very easy to deny and delay commitments. Like I can call up, a vendor can call me and I can say that I don't want to give you a payment right now because the pandemic situation is there. I can say that oh, the situation is bad, you have to cut your salaries. Somewhere we are not looking at it that this is an opportunity to build trust. This is an opportunity that you have to stay on your words for your employees, for your vendors, for your clients. Even if you can't do it, I think so you have to communicate it in the right way. Once you communicate to them that I can't do it for this particular reason, you're winning them, you're winning that person for life. And if you're standing by that person at this time, it's very important for them too, and it's important to be fair. So coming back to, contributing to funds and cutting down on salaries or laying off people, I consider this as a great, accounting and a marketing tool. Because what has happened is you pay to the fund, you get tax rebates, while on the other hand, you get a marketing and PR around it. But what you're actually losing out is you're not supporting your own people. So you got to stay on your word is something which I feel is very much there on your commitments. And you got to take the risk now, maybe, just to come out of it. I'm not saying just go out there and take all the risk possible. You got to take calculated risk because it's a great opportunity. There's less competition outside. So now is when, if you take the risk, you step out, you move out of your comfort zone, and you want to build something. This is a time wherein you can take it because there's less competition. You can build it at peace. You can build it the way you want it. So somewhere, just to sum it up, these are the three, I would say, broad areas where you could look at with the combination of other stuff that we can talk about. For me personally, coming to your question, it was great because I could finish my book. And I started, my plan was to finish this book about a year, and I got this 3 months, 4 months at hand, and I could finish the book on what I wanted to write was on entrepreneurship. And that gave me an opportunity. So I take it in a very positive way, but I want to move ahead from that and make it as a thing that this is an opportunity for everyone. So that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Really great. I think, yes, for like we were talking in the first place, that this time we got a lot of time to finish things and also to begin with things and to change things. So whether it is a positive thing or a negative way, we will come to these topics, in the later rounds in discussion with our authors. Now, if we have to talk about the change, if you really have, because this is a very, very important thing, the changes that has happened since 5 months for now, the lot of changes in lifestyle, the changes in economy, the changes in health sector wise, every sector you name has got a change, and we have also changed. So coming to lifestyle, I would like to know also that how has been a lifestyle changing according to I'll come back to Anil sir, that what is the thing you think people are doing in these times, and how has lifestyle exactly changed according to you? Has your lifestyle changed as well, and how has new normal been for you? How have you been embracing the new normal? Over to Akash sir.
Yeah. Um, yes. Good evening. So yeah, coming to this lifestyle changing and everything. Yes. Uh, as you are asking, and as Mr. Parth and Mr. Deep Malhotra has said, yes, I'm accepting and agreeing with them, and I'm having a small discussion tidbit points also we can have in further in the session. Coming to my lifestyle, yes, before the lockdown and after the lockdown, if I recheck myself, yes, there are many things. I felt very agile. The agility in me was increased. I am open to accept the things, whatever it's coming. Previously, yes, everyone we are having some roles and responsibilities. At the same time, we are having some circle around us. We are inside the circle and we are doing our needful things, which is inside our boundaries, within the limits, within the boundaries. But this lockdown, this situation, the challenges which we are getting, not only one individual, I think every individual in this planet is getting a very tough time and challenging time, and also many opportunities, as Mr. Deep said. So yes, now most of the people are like, there are some section of people who are consciously matured and accepting the changes and getting accepting the new challenges, and there are some people with some moderate conscious. They are Yes, there are many people who are depressed and demotivated. I think I won't say it's some. There are a lot of people who are depressed and demotivated because of these things in these days. So I personally feel yes, this is a very good time to realize and what we say re-explore ourselves in this pandemic situation. And I don't speak more on this happened this 5 months, but I want to keep a point on post pandemic. Yes, if we are restarting our lives, if we are restarting the situations, yeah, the things, I would like to highlight the few points related to the environment. Yes, we are focusing on the many things, but we must start having a system. It's a thing which the world leadership should understand and should act accordingly with the environmental changes, because from 1990 to from 2020, yes, the 3 decades past, the population is almost 35% increased. The earth is having a huge population which is not at all acceptable or bearable, because with the limited resources we are having, with the coming to the maturity level of the 1990 generations and this 2020 generations regarding in terms of population control and these things. Yes, we are having a very good maturity, developed maturity, the things in our lifestyle. But with this developed maturity, still the prediction is saying that by 2050 we will be having a 9 billion to 10 billion people on Earth with very limited resources. Yes, we are looking the many indirect consequences, how the duplicacy, negligency, that or the malfunctioning of the things or the products which is happening, which is taking place in the society, including from the food grains to many things, because of the increased population. I am not pointing on the increased population is a wrong, but with the sources or the resources which the earth is having, we are not in a way, I mean, the world leadership is not in a way accordingly planning the things, which I feel is yes. Before lockdown, we are having a many cities which having a air pollution index very high mode, right from Delhi to many cities in India and Beijing to many cities in world with USA. So now after the lockdown in India, we realized the first thing which we felt happy and the positive note which we got is that yes, the pollution levels has drastically dropped, and the very good dream for many years and many decades for many people that the river Ganga has got cleaned with very less effort. Because of this, the pollution has got very much betterment towards the way. But now, if we restart the things, we should take this lesson into consideration. Yes, the things need to be improved. The things will be improved. But what if we have a planned lockdown at month ends? Every time, every month, because as we have particularly focusing on this what we say the economic growth and these things. Yes, definitely for the next generation it's very important to give a stable economy and develop a raised economy than ours, but at the same time we must be able to give the safer and guiltyless world for them to enjoy and explore and discover. So I feel that we must have a planned perspective of administration towards the in the world, across the world, where which the next generation lifestyle will be feasible and will be as much as easy as ours, because our previous generations have faced many things like war, plague, different, right? We our previous generation, our last 1 century, our previous generation has witnessed 2 world wars and many countries individual wars. Different countries have fought for this, and our India has got a very good independence after very long war. So these are the things. But our generation is lucky enough. Yes, we are in a little bit matured mode, but in this maturity, we are trying to focus on the economic growth, and parallelly we are reducing these things. And just few days back, I'm reading in the 2019, it's 580 billion tons of ice in Antarctica got melted to water. It's very fast comparatively to previous years. So if this is the situation, I think this is a very good jolt or jerk or stroke which we got, our human race, mankind has got to in the world, that yes, either we should change or either we should turn. This is the situation or this is the scenario. So our lifestyles must use this, or we must able to capture this change, and we must go in a positive way towards okay, in the improving of our environment. This is one of my points.
Absolutely. And I think if you were talking about planning, right? So we have, since the lockdown, first we did not have any kind of idea that how long this is going to be. And then we were like, fine, we will be going on till jitna din ho raha hai, theek hai, we will manage somehow. But we never knew. I think any of you never anticipated that this is going to be this long. I'm sure for that. So
Absolutely.
with that, and now we know that इस साल तो ये शायद ही ठीक होने वाला है, and we have like accustomed to it, like okay fine, this is our new normal and this is how it will be. And in other perspectives, if we know that we have kind of completely accepted it and we are working on with it. So likewise I would come to Mr. Akash, knowing his opinion on the new normal, and what is your opinion according to you, how people are reacting to this new normal. So over to you. So you're on mute.
And
Yeah.
Hello everyone. How are you? How are you doing? Hope you are doing good. Yeah, it is quite a tough time. It's a pandemic, and yeah, we are not liking the things that we are not able to go out and all those things happening over here and there. Yeah, I know that people are facing the challenges, and yeah, yet not being happy somehow because of mental stress and other beliefs. So that is a different way of perceptions which you have. It is all going from the hair way, like whatever we are thinking is going over here, and we are just juggling up with it, and we are crushing our emotions, and we are just and we are just feeling ourselves as in a bad mood and bad side, so that we are tackling all those things. But it is not like that actually, and it's on a good note as well. Starting my opinion first, I would like to really appreciate the opinion shared by Sir Deep and Anil. These three had really decorated it very well. So has said that like it was all about like the how the pandemic, how this lockdown time had taken us to back to the stage of 100 years back, which is what was very feasible a day when we have the restrictions, but the love and emotion and the understanding between the pupils and the work which brings out the happiness, and every work and ends up in with the fun that was there, and that was building up the relation in such a pure manner. I was like really fascinated with that. Coming on to the point, like which is for the entrepreneurships, yeah, I really love that, like how the companies are reacting into this lockdown. They are all just focusing on their social benefits, not about the employees. Like why, I don't know, but why the employees are not such important at that stage to them. I really wonder. That is very crucial things, and they are spoiling up in another way. So giving out the fund to the charity and just naming out yourself into the hit list and just being at the top, and after that losing your resources who are actually working for you is like a policy, a work of a fool, I must say. But yeah, they would be having some other plans, corporate plans, which they would be having into the picture by which they are doing, but they are not knowing that what impact they are either even having on the society. The fear is building up, not because of just because of the pandemic and because of the virus. The fear is building up very in various stages. Like the bar is going up in various stages. We are losing the peoples around. We are losing the jobs around. We are losing. Whatever the economy is. We don't predict that because we are not in the financial stage. We are not in the financial market. Like or we are not in the government, which will predict that our economy is going low. Our economy is going higher. Where we are spending, we are spending, from which country we are taking the fund, which we are not. So that is a different thing. Why do we think of that? But the real factor which we peoples are governing is all about like all losing our people, losing our jobs, which is the fear that is building up. So now and yeah, and the third one, like which Anil has told us, the agricultural sector is very much impulsive these days. Like yeah, I can see like the Ganga is being cleared why after many years, like it is ages, like we haven't seen that. And we don't know after this lockdown if the things are normal, our children or their grandchildren would be seeing that or not. But yeah, of special things which we got to know and we got to see in the environment and all those things. But yeah, we are not able to enjoy that. We are not able to go out, and we are not able to chill out in such a way which we are doing that. But yeah, at least something worked out for our environment. That is our environment only. That is like we are only living into that. So these 3 points of view, three has really decorated well. Now starting from my sake, I won't be into the high note of positivity and all those things. I would be a quite low note because I have been not in starting. Starting was the March one when we started, and when the lockdown has started, it was like not that not that way that it would be going on to that extent, and the cases are being quite few. Being in Delhi, like we are seeing the high rate of increase of cases, and then the slowly, slowly and steadily that the pressure that builds up into you, and the death rates goes up. Then it doesn't, it matters to those families which are losing lives. Like it is, it yeah, we these are numbers for us, for government as well. It is a number, but the family that is losing their life, how they are going to cope up, what the workaround they are having. It's a really ridiculous to understand. And a person who is having a small family and who is dependent on one or two people around, and after that, if he gets the fear, then he is not able to do anything else apart from that. I can see that in like, because that, so that is, these are the fears that like, or and these are not the understanding, like when how. So we can we are not into that much mood of writing, but we are having the time slab enough to have those thoughts to be pictured out, and to some broader, some sort of change into the world. But yeah, the pandemic is like altogether and after the lockdown has been into the picture. So what we realized that over here, we had really utilized the digital and digital world and world very well these days. Like however we have been doing our all work all together, we are all functioning up. Like we are not having such kind of tendency or some kind of like some restrictions of doing something, like not doing or not doing that or not doing that. Communicating actual benefit of that all the employees whatever they are working on. We are spending much time with our family. Like family is time which we hadn't spared like for years, and or we are not able to spare after that as well. So that is what we are having, and we can understand the issues which family wants. Your parents are there, and your parents wouldn't say you ever that please stay with me and don't go in other state and work over there, and don't go for the success. But right now every person is coming back to their home and they're staying with their parents, and they are like they are having the good time all together. That is being like really fascinating, and like innovate, like the generation of ideas and the interaction with the client, the with the parents are really really good factor for that. But yeah, and the children's like whatever the children's are doing, like the way the education is for the children right now, like they are having they don't know how to cope up with this digital world. That is quite difficult for them to have their schools and classes and on the digital media only. We don't know how much pressure they are having right now, but we just say that this is easier, they can either handle that and they can go on with it only. But yeah, we don't know exactly that what mental pressure, like how they are able to understand that, or they are just going through that those things, or what time will they take to understand those things. And these are the some issues which are there. But yeah, altogether digital have been into a good mode for everything. For from growing your business, as Deep has said, there's a good time for that. There are no challenges in the market. Yeah, there are no challenges, and you have, if you have the very pure idea, and you are the you are in 20 slots of people, like you have a unique idea, that would be altogether work. Even if it is not unique, even if it is related to someone else, and you have the approach to do it, it is going to work. Then you have the time for that, and you have the venture to explore. So that is what everything is going on from the mind's perspective. So these are all concerns which are going on in such a way. So I will suggest that it is bad, but it is altogether from our brain only, that which we are visualizing, and how we are making settling things down into the picture. So let's have it in a good notes, and let's think in a brighter way, and let's flash all the good things to the success extents. So that was it.
Sure, and
Yeah,
that was,
from my side.
I think, you all already you have mentioned about a lot of the points that you feel about, which I like very much. So, if I have to, put in this, that like we are talking about the high notes and the low notes that you all have been experiencing in this pandemic, and for other people, you have been feeling this, how it has been treating to the other people. But yes, like Mr. Akash spoke about being education in a digital mode. I think like we, the Policy Times, have been dealing with the education sector since 5 months very deeply, and we have been seeing how much it has been a challenge for the teachers and for the principals coping up, and especially in the rural education. And to very sadly, post the pandemic or already, there has been hundreds and hundreds of children who have been college school dropouts just because they have no digital education. So the Policy Times is also working on that notion as well, with the thought and this campaign as well.
Yeah.
In fact, I would like to say, like we always have been mentioning, like Anil sir and Akash sir already said, that we have been perhaps backward also, but yes, again we have got a great leap of faith that we have all taken in a big way. business wise, in our behavior wise, hygiene wise, and education wise. We never thought that teachers and students are going to take their classes in the classes, tests, everything at home. We never knew that, did we? We did not. So that has been a huge leap of faith for India, if we have to speak about. Like yesterday, we had a webinar and we were speaking of how there are a lot of foreign countries who have been already doing this, and it has been like a normal thing for them. But for India, teachers needed to be trained because we did not have that much of training for all our task force in that level. So speaking about that, if we have to go about the changes, there are high loads and no nodes for for all of us, for all sectors. But again, like we have been talking about environment, like Anil sir had also mentioned about the drastic change in the pollution level, and how the Ganga has been more cleaner. I would come to our next panelist, Dr. Partho, and I would like to know from him, what is your comment on this environmental changes, the climate changes? Is it for the good,
Yeah,
or is there any negative aspect to that as well? Because,
true.
like we know, plastic has always been a bane to the environment. But again, there we
Yeah,
have been seeing a
it's a
lot of
pollution now.
picture in the social media and everything, how still now the
Masks.
next thing is mask, rightly said.
True.
So how mask now is the next plastic, I think,
Exactly.
loitered here and there, and it is like the most available thing in the market right now. Over to you, Dr. Partho.
Yes, actually, that's an interesting subject actually, because lots of articles and discussions going on environment and climate changes. And you rightly said, the bottle, the water bottle, the mineral water bottle has been replaced by masks possibly, and the face shields which are all lying there. So plastic gets replaced by plastic. It's a big accountability problem. But definitely, human lives matter. So obviously, the focus is more on health issues. Masks are important for people to use it. But yes, we need to also come out with the choice of exactly how to dispose this things. But before I come into this issue of environment and climate change, I am working on climate change. I have written a book on climate change it's a series of books, and how it all started. How does this pandemic started? It started with a virus called COVID-19, isn't it? It's a group of virus which belongs to the family of coronavirus. Now, how suddenly this coronavirus has landed up? Now, I can tell you that this virus, the group of coronavirus, actually is very common in animals. It is present in reptiles. It is present in bats. It is even present in an animal called pangolin. Now, climate change, environment is extremely related. How this virus, which is a wild virus, which is supposed to be living in wild animals, suddenly just jump into a human being. Now, climate change, destruction of environment, humans going into forest and deforesting them is one of the reasons why this virus has jumped from a wild animal to domesticated animal, from domesticated animals into human beings. So it's all related. It's all related. Exactly. If you look into the case of bird flus. Now, bird flus originated in bats initially and wild birds, which just fell into the domestic chicken. But from domestic chicken, it landed up into human. So climate change and environment is the basic reason how and why today we have coronavirus in humans. So obviously, it's an extremely interrelated subject now, and it matters. And in that way, I would like to tell that, yeah, even though overall we are talking about good things about climate change, in the sense we have reduced pollution, we have capped down the air quality has increased suddenly. I was reading an article in the Economic Times where they're telling that the amount of carbon dioxide produced in the environment has gone down drastically. It has possibly gone down a couple of years back what we were producing. So obviously these are all good signage. The ozone layer looks better now. It protects the earth from UV protection. So obviously these are healthy signs, but this is too short a time. 3 months or 4 months or 5 months is a very short time to discuss about environment and climate change in a very large scale. In time scale, for earthly time scale, this 3 months or 4 months and 5 months is nothing actually. It's nothing compared to that type of time scale. So yes, it's important that the climate change and environment is actually a reason to be talked about, because as I mentioned, this virus is coming from a wild animal. It is coming from a wild reservoir. So there are potential animals There are potential animals in the environment which are still holding different types of viruses, which we do not know. It's totally new to humankind. And this destruction of this forests and large scale destruction of human beings going into the forest and bringing wild animals into our domestic areas is actually the start of the whole problem. So I think it's extremely important that we are aware of climate change, environmental damages, and it should be crux of that. Today we have lost about the origin of this virus. Today we're talking about how to control the virus. We're talking about how to mitigate the virus, or how to get a vaccine so that this coronavirus can be tackled. Now, what happens in 6 months? This virus mutates, or a new group of coronavirus comes up and jumps into that. What happens to the millions of dollars spent on the virus program for COVID-19? So the entire money is going to be waste if you have a new type of mutants coming out from the jump. So obviously we need to cap the leak. It's something like a tank, which we need to cap it. We need to really, now we have contained the coronavirus, we should contain the tank, and then we treat the water in the tank. But if you have an entry point, new viruses can come in and jump from animal into our environment and can again start the whole process again. We might go back to another pandemic and another one if you are not protecting the environment. So these diseases are, that's why known as zoonotic diseases. Zoonotic means because there is a zoo or an animal which is a source of this disease. So it's very important. Climate change and environment plays a very important role here. If somebody mentioned about a plague sometime back, people have been suffering from have gone through the pandemic in plague. Plague again is dependent on a flea, an insect, and rats. Now, population of rats becomes so much in Bombay or Surat, in that area in early 90s or 80s, that the rats actually the one mitigated the pandemic in Bombay. And there were so many people dying in that area of in Gujarat and Bombay and things like that. So obviously, animal, climate change, environment is all related in this whole story. And rightly pointed out, this is a point of discussion for various institutes and agencies. How do we need to see the future also? Today, this pandemic might be over. We might cope up. We might have a vaccine. We might have come back. But what about the next one popping up? And will we go back again to the same scenario? So this is a question we need to ask and rethink also. Yes, that's a very important topic to be discussed. Yes.
Indeed, I think the thing that you mentioned very minutely about that we have now almost the the source of the virus, how it has come and how
Yes.
it got mutated, and now it is almost like we know, like in our 500 meters we have these many cases and
True.
everything. We forgot the origin of it because
That's
we are
true.
trying to look in for the remedy and how to
The
live
cure.
with it,
Yes.
because the cure, once we know that this is not going on in this way and
Yeah.
this won't go away this way. But again, right, very rightly mentioned, sir, that we ready for the next one, what is going to come, or what if
Yeah.
it changes its form, or what if it changes its the kind of symptoms and everything, what happens, because we have been seeing
Yes.
a lot of changes in this already in the 5 months period.
True.
So we have to again adapt with it, like you said that like we were talking in the earlier sector about the high notes again, that we are trying to look at the positive and the brighter side of it. And but again, deep down we also know what pains really they are going through and
Yes.
their family members are going through for the deceased one as well. So what we can do is only we just can pray for them, because they cannot even have a last look of their family members as well. Once they are taken
True.
off, they have been taken off. So that is
True.
the most saddest part. So we know that some people are getting cured coming after 6 days or coming after 15 days, but again, some are not lucky
No.
enough.
Yes.
So for that we just can pray, but again, lives go on. We have to look at the brighter side as well
True.
and move forward. So
True.
coming to that, I would just like we were talking about the economy and how businesses have been, I would come to Mr. Deep and know minutely again about how business, like you said, a lot of you said that people got time and there are no challenges, or you got time to think about new areas and new ideas and everything. But how young business who just started off perhaps in January or February, or the ones who just took a load of amount of money from the investors and about to start businesses, what about them? What do you feel, and what message, or what is your opinion for them? What do you have to talk about for those specific businesses that I mentioned? Over to you.
Uh, rightly pointed out. I mean, yeah, it might be a good opportunity to get in and start afresh now, because if you have ground advantage of, how things have been for the last 4 or 5 months. If you start and, you can plan it that way. But what if we've just started a business in December or maybe in Jan, and you just left your job? And I know many of my, ex-colleagues and a lot of these startups that come up to us who were working on plans related to travel. There were guys who were building a business around a restaurant. Now, all of those are going to be impacted. Now, like Dr. Partho has just said, it's kind of scary, right? I mean, we don't know yet how much it can go worse. It can just multiply, things can just keep getting worse. So, how are we going to plan ourselves or plan a business to something like this? Because somewhere we have been, we've been questioned. The normalcy, the being normal, has been questioned by this virus. So we need to do certain basic things, like everyone was pointing out that there's a good hygiene thing that you're doing. We're washing our hands, we're getting more time with our family. Certain hygiene factors in business itself is something which can be helpful. A basic thing can be being frugal, many times you see a lot of these startups getting funded or business getting funded by investor money, and they're splurging out their money either maybe on advertisement or hiring unwantedly or just expanding. So I guess funds will be dried out for some time now, so the payments would be delayed. So you got Google. So funding isn't going to be like so easily available for new businesses or your further set of funding. But somewhere I used to always, and whenever we have built our business or I have built my business, I never thought of funding as winning a lottery ticket. It's always like, once you get funded, it's like a lottery ticket that you have and you keep spending it. And it's your investors' money. So how frugal are you with it? How cautious you are with it will help you gain the investors' confidence. So I guess that's one point would change for good. And it should change for good because of the fact, as you said, for the general working, we have been more, we're doing certain things. For the business side of it, we got to be frugal. We got to use every penny or the invest right way. We got to be lean. We don't want to build big teams unnecessarily, because at times like these, then we are going to just cut the jobs out and they'll be out of the market again. So it's important to be lean. It's somewhere good to be understaffed, I feel, especially when you're in the case of building a startup. So when you're growing your company, you're understaffed, you have a small set of people working with you. They tend to get more exposure. They tend to get multi-skilled and they grow with you. So somewhere down the line, there's a great opportunity to stretch yourself, be understaffed. Another point I can think of is don't be ashamed. There's an analogy that I can give out here is we sometimes feel ashamed to ask discounts, ask for more time for payment. If it is possible, ask more time for payment. If the vendor is okay to give you, he'll give you. So once you get into building a business, there's a point wherein there's somewhere you have this Friday nights, you have these Friday evenings with your team. So you call in for pizzas. So maybe now is the time to call in for vada pav. In Mumbai, if you think of it, that's a cheaper option. So you got to be frugal. So that is something which is going to stick around, and it's good to be lean when you're building it. And it's all how you're building consistently, not with and intensity. You can't just be very excited about your idea and you just splurge out your amount. You have your 6 months salary and you finish it off, and then you're like out in the market again. So now at these times, like rightly pointed out, this can happen again. This is not the end of the road. This might happen now, 6 months down the line, everything is going to be normal. 2 years later, this might just come back again. So we need to be aware that we got to be lean, we got to be frugal. We need to build so that we build ground up. And there's great opportunity, like you rightly pointed out, also is change. Because who would have thought that we would be doing a webinar like this? We would be doing it in a banquet hall where there'll be a lot of people coming in there. We'll be talking. You're not doing it out of sitting out of your homes, right? We're getting more audience then too. So the opportunity lies in places like events, places like fitness. There are a lot of these fitness profiles which have come in online, wherein you can learn yoga online, you can learn working out, functional training online. That's a great market. Education, again, that's a huge market. So there's great opportunity. How you do this change is where you will be put at the end of it. And I think so, with the combination of being cautious, with the combination of adapting to the change, it is new. It is kind of scary because it's new, but I feel it is for the good. Like it's good for the environment. It's good for certain things like we're spending time with the family. It's good for the business in the long term too, because we are building with a good foundation if you're building with these thoughts. So somewhere I think so the new is good if we adapt to the change.
Rightly said. And it has to be because we are moving on. Nobody, like you said, is sitting back and just pondering over what needs to be done. But again, entrepreneurs are also thinking about better ideas or how they can even start off in a better way. So, likewise, education has also not stopped, if we have to talk about. They have not stopped at all, neither children, nor principals, nor universities, neither guardians. Everybody is like, at in action, from buying to tabs and laptops and getting internets and everything, and they're just going on. I would like to come to Mr. Anil and know that how, according to you, in the education wise, what is your opinion? Are children or the education sector really embracing this new normal, and how are we going about with it? What is your opinion on it?
Yeah, hi. So yes, very good points covered by Mr. Deep and Akash and Parji. I just am listening to the things, and there are also very good learnings, and I'm just capturing and noting the points what Mr. Deep has said regarding entrepreneurship and what Mr. Parth has pointed out correctly regarding the environment, with the topic which I said is linkage to that. Mr. Parth continued, and yes, I'm accepting. I agree with that. And now this coming to your question, the education, embracing the new things of education. Yes, nowadays we are looking over many, almost 99% of online educations and slightly 1% of the tuitions or some one-to-one interaction education. So in this, what I want to convey is the one thing everyone are missing is there is a very good and huge opportunity in this education system for the interaction between the parents and children and teachers. If we look over this, if we just go just 3 to 5 generations back, there are some Gurukul Patshals and there are some continuously nowadays the residential schools or colleges are called as Gurukul or some with the sages or some sort of these things, and with where there are education like Veda Shastras has been taught, and completely the set of the student will be with the guru, and yes, and the student will come with very good knowledge and after some years. So this is the system of education at that time, and slowly it has come to some extent that yes, there is some point of the guru in one village, and from there, yes, the set of people are visiting that guru, and slowly the interaction level between the guru and the student is got reduced, and slowly there came the schools where I think our grandparents has took that, or our parents has took that schooling system, and slowly from last 10 years, if we see, there are a trend of corporate schools, and I think the education has become a very messy thing. And again, as I said earlier, this is the point where we got a halt and pause and jerk that yes, either you change. It's a phase that for the entire mankind either to step up or to turn back. This is the situation where we are. So in these terms, we are currently focusing on online education, and I mean to point out that there is a very good opportunity for the children, at least for the lower kindergartens, or at least for the class 5, 6, or 8 maximum. There is a very good opportunity for between the interaction between the parents and the children and teachers. Because previously, nowadays teachers are schools are connecting the parent teacher meet or some etc etc. So what I can say that there are many parents who are working in home, or there are very many parents who are spending their time with their families, and why can't they involve in their children's education? How they are because in the school previously it's not possible that he or she they will be in school for 8 hours, 10 hours, but it's not possible for them to come and interact with them and what's going on, how the teaching is there. So there is a possibility which can explore the interaction between the parents, teachers, and the children. This will enhance the things with the knowledge levels of the children also in the future cases. This is one thing. And second thing is interaction between the parents and children in the terms of education, in the sense it will create a very good bonding between them, which can psychologically improve the children in a way that in further courses also at the very old stages of the parents also. That nowadays we are looking many cases that children are keeping the parents away and they are staying with their family because of there are some certain invisible gaps between them, and these are the indirect losses of the thing which we lost from our traditions, which the culture has changed in nowadays. So this gap can be minimized with these sort of interactions, because this is possible now. There is a possibility now for all these interactions. If it could be done at this time, I think after if our generation has start doing this in our older ages, we may not face that situation what our previous generation is facing, that keeping us the parents away when in their older ages. So these sort of gaps and communication gaps could be reduced, and also the things that guidance, the sort of what we say belief will be increased in children, that yes, my parent is capable to guide me on this issue. Nowadays many children or many of the youngsters thinking that, oh no, I am stuck with the problem, how can I discuss with my parents, what they do, what they know. I think they don't know this, but they are very much far ahead than us in terms of experience, in terms of looking the life in different angles. But many of us not having that scenario to understand that yes, they are experienced, they are capable to solve our problem, they are capable to understand our problem. Because the gap which is found between the children and parent at the learning stage is one of the root cause, which I feel this is one unrealized concept between the parents and children in this issue, which is what I feel. And this could be this is a movement, and this is an opportunity greatly. This we can capture this, and we can change this. This is one point. And second point, there are our grandmothers and grandfathers in the houses, and they are also having a very good knowledge of Shastras, Vedas, whatever it is, whether it is with Hinduism or Muslim or Christian, whatever the religion, every religion is having very good knowledge that now there is an option that can be injected or induced to children in the home, along with the education, that yes, they are also in the free time now, they also can't go out, and instead of demotivating, or instead of having a discouraged thing, yes, they're spending the time by interacting with this this quality time, and this will also add the value addition to the children, and also bonding between the previous generation and both previous generation to the current generation. So this could be a very good opportunity if we utilize, and there are many indirect benefits which our generations can witness in our lifestyles in terms of this with this small sort of educational enhancements.
I think the point that you mentioned, Anil sir, I really did not come across this point in all those webinars, in our past webinars, and a very, very nice topic, and in an opportunistic way, if we have to talk about, digital education, if we are speaking, the kind of bond that you're talking about, the school children or the children with their parents at this time, whereas there were some times where parents were not even knowing, perhaps they were so busy that what is all going on in their class, or what subjects she or he has, or what activities they are doing. They just knew that yeah, they are in this class or something. So I think very nicely pointed out, and a very positive thing to talk about. We'll come to Akash sir next, if we talk about that the new normal, if what that we are talking about, Mr. Akash. What are the things you think people are missing out on? Like, there has been a complete boundaries and area aurora has been, an aura has been built up about the social world, the virtual world, and everything. What amidst this, we like, it's a very positive thing that we are connected to people, by video calls and like this in the Zoom and Google Meet and everything, for webinars and everything, or we are having Zoom birthday celebrations, or some family functions and everything. But that is completely in a virtual sense. But what exactly we are missing out in a kind of in amidst our relationships and with families and everything, or in general, if you think, if in your opinion, what exactly people are missing out in this new normal, behavior wise?
Yeah, back again. Just wanted to say one word from a longer time. I just want to say a country of temporary solutions. We don't have any permanent solutions. So yeah, I'm very agree with the Dr. Path or whatever he said, that how we are not thinking of the future, and we are not building up the things in such a way that our future will be secure, and our, things would be cured in future as well. We don't have those things to be back into our lives in future. But yeah, we are just handling the present extents, and we just want to pass the times right away. Abhi, like we just want to get rid of it right now, but not aware that our children would be getting impacted with it again also. And we have to be strong, because yeah, as Deep said, that like the way it can be impacted in a year, or in after 1 or 2 years. So we have to be prepared of it. I'm really happy to hear the point that you have asked me to talk upon. Like that is really great, and that is really concerned that we should think of it, because it is spoiling our the way we can think the new normal would be. So a virtual world, like okay, the virtual environment which we are into, and with the digitalization which we are into. Okay, that's pretty good. Like okay, we are having digital things, and we are all together in touch with it. Some okay, I know there is much of the population which is not in touch with it, and that government have to think of it, and then they have to provide some sort of medium so that they can also cope up with the environment which we are having right now. So but I'm talking about the maximum of the population which is into it, and which is not utilizing it in a better way. Yeah, it is okay, you are working, and you're delivering to your company, you are having everything in the picture. That is perfectly fine. You are working, but what you are doing for yourself, you're doing all together for the company. You are thinking, okay, you are looking to the health videos, you're looking to the things around, and you are all together onto the social medias. You're not into your life all together. You're not into your life. You're not realizing that what I should be doing in this sort of time, how I will be embracing myself, how I will be encouraging myself in certain other fields, which is point of interest of mine only. So and that and every okay, Ankita, I have seen from my previous ages that every person have an excellence. No one person has been brought up in this world without an excellence, and those excellence are there in hidden in the person, like anything. They come out somehow, like in the form of interest, when they put on some things like into the picture. But why they are not focusing on those things, and why don't they putting out those things in this specific time? So this is why, because they are all together captured. The mind has been influenced with social medias, and all the time is being utilized more on into that only, that they are not able to get rid of that crust which is developed into their mind. Like all together, everything is available. Like you want to watch movie, it is there. You want to watch a Fabro dance choreography, it is there. You want to watch a very beautiful lyrics, very talented things, it is there. Everything is there. That what is yours? What is the innovation? What is the creativity? The crust is all together over in your mind. You can't think anything else. You are just juggling out on all those things only. You're not even trying to explore your thoughts to that level, so that some innovation will be coming up into the picture. That is more important to be built up. Like I was really stressed out for those things somehow. Like if I see the things, like we have so much of things that can be innovative, but we are still copying things out from other. That is not a and yeah, and we are not implementing those things actually. So either that as well. But coming to the personal relationship, family life, interaction with the, I said in my last go that okay, we are having much of time with family, we are spending time with family, but it is not the very good and accurate picture. We are also we are still, if we are having those such of plenty of opportunities to build with families and friends around, not friends. Actually friends, we are all virtual. But yeah, the digitalization is helping you, or at least to connect with them. But what exactly you have to you are having at this stage of time, you are not enhancing those things all together. Because after the things would be changing, the time would be in the better track, you are walking in the same go, then you will realizing those things, that that time I should be doing those things which I would have the options at that time, and now I'm not able to do that. So you are missing those things actually. Like you are missing your innovations, you're missing your creativity, you are missing your personal relations somehow. Some a bit, some are achieving, some are not achieving. But whoever is not achieving, I'm just telling to those peoples around. So the major factor which I was telling you is, it was all together about that only. Social is like social media, you is all altogether a good thing for us. But yeah, when you are not provoking your thoughts, and you are making dumping other thoughts and other creativity and other everything onto your together. But that is a big challenge for the yourself also, and, and the nation also, because you're not able to give back to anything in the such a order. I'm really happy, like I was like get rid of it, like, because nowadays, like, what is happening, like you are like, we are all together sitting at home, and like and there I know that whatever work we are doing digitally, that is perfectly fine. We are interacting, and we're chilling out somehow to ourselves. We are just satisfying us, sufficing our soul. But yeah, what we are doing for our health, we are not doing anything. Like I know that whatever the strength of people would be working at home, like it would 100%, 80% of them are just thinking to do something but not doing anything for their health, because they are just just walking out with the time, like what walking out with the things all around, because they are spending altogether time on the cell phones only. That is so ridiculous, because they just wake up and just this what they say at the first, it is their phone, that which they are, which is in their hand, which is they want to check out what are the messages I got in the last night. So that is not a that is not a way of living, man. And when you are and why do you have to keep your phone in and under your pillow? What is required of it? I don't know, because it can also hang out in your lobby, and it would be charging out there, and whatever it would be happening. Why do you care of about that? So these are the stressless things that we have to implement in this lockdown period, so that we have to get rid of those pleasures which we are not taking, and we are just stressing out ourselves, because whenever we see more, we want to grab more. And we leave those things which are around us, and to grab more, we are just in a sorrow that I'm not able to grab those things, but I'm having already a pleasure around me as well. And that pleasure wouldn't be in after a year, and then that would be you will be asking that, okay, I should have given that sort of time to the in that manner, and that would be very helpful for me. So that is what the impact of social things are there into our lives. So it is altogether uh, not on altogether everything instead of everything. I told you that previously also. How you take it, it depends on you. It is not anyone who's going to tell
Absolutely.
you that how you have to go with it. And that's true.
Absolutely. And like exactly what the question we were speaking about, I think you have rightly mentioned, sir, that we are talking about the things that we have adopted. But again, to have a very nice analysis of what we are doing in the lockdown and everything, you rightly mentioned about the not very good habits that also we have been doing. I think this will also always create a little buzz when next time we follow these things
Yeah.
in our life, in checking phones and everything. So I think rightly mentioned, sir. With that, we have some comments and some comments from our live viewers and everything. So we have with us Yogendra Singh, who just wished you all and has a question. Like two viewers of ours has a question for Mr. Deep, and that is that they want to know about your journey about the Beck Friends, the initiative that you had. In short, if you can explain to our viewers about this journey and how it has been with the struggles and everything. That's what Sarthi Sood is asking. And also, there is a comment for Mr. Anil Kartikeya. Indira mentions that it's a very nice topic in an optimistic way that you have mentioned. So, over to you, Mr. Deep, in a very brief manner, if you could listen to your journey for our viewers.
Okay, thanks for that. I mean, the journey has been quite a roller coaster, actually. That's the reason why that inspired me to write the book, BrickCement.com. Now, like I said, it started off when I was still in college. I did my first .com. Then I joined in a few of the companies. I was the founding team for Google in India. And then I was senior director. And then I joined into real estate. So when I joined into real estate, my thing was that I didn't want to leave the tech. I didn't want to leave the digital. And rightly so for times like this, when you're talking about how digital is increasing. I've been, since a decade, I've been an advocate for digital in India. And somewhere this is the tipping point now, because in e-learning, we're seeing it, in events, we're seeing it. So we started actually investing in a lot of tech businesses. And when we came across Beck Friends, that was an interesting business that we came in, when how you could monetize your unused luggage space when you're traveling. And it's basically an Airbnb for your luggage. That's how we did it. And we tied up with a lot of airlines, basically giving discounted tickets to travelers when you're letting go of your luggage space. It's been hit because of the pandemic, but just to take a case in point, it's been great opportunity again for us here. because what it gave us time is to step back and look at our business model. And we have come up with a new business model wherein we are working with the airlines. And whenever the airlines are going to start, the cost of your travel is always going to increase, because your cost of tickets is going to increase. There's a lot of extra cost that is added on. You have to do social distancing. So travel is only going to be costly from here. So we have come up with a product now is basically we're working with the airlines, and at the time of booking your ticket itself, you can let go of your luggage space and you get like a cashback. So that has given us an opportunity. We could have just looked back and said that travel is down 4 months, we can't do anything. So this has been a learning curve for us. We have built up a product, we're just ready to go with it. So that is how we have taken this ad. And just adding to the point here by everyone saying that things are, it's scary, it's something which we are not sure, it's unsure, it's something which we're going up and down, but it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to say that you're scared, but sometimes when you say it, what happens is that you then are fearless. It's kind of, you then get into building, and that's what happened with Beck Friends. When travel got stopped, we said, what do we do? And we put up a hand and we started building around it. And that's where we are now. We are raring to go once it starts, and we are very sure a product like this, which can discount your travel charges, are going to be something successful for us. So yeah, I guess in the nutshell, that is where we are at.
Very interesting kind of thing, that I think the initiative that you had taken about the Beck Friends, and I'm sure the viewers really were eager to listen to this kind of journey that you have been, that digitally you are advocating the digital medium all the way long back. And again, there has been a lot of advocates who now think that like we were talking about, a lot of countries who already have these things in digitally. For them, like education, it hasn't been very much difficult. Like webinars is now a thing in India, but again, this was a very common thing for abroad, the countries there. And there has been, you can see when you have a search option, and everywhere you can see there are webinar topics of 2019 and 2018, where the age of webinars were there at that time. So again, if we have to talk about how cultures are changing, how lifestyles are changing, how persons people as a whole has changed behavioral wise, and their whole routine in a day has changed, and so many things have included. But again, there are a lot of things that has been excluded. Like nobody now goes on hanging out just for a sake of hanging out, because we know why. And that is all because we cannot do, it's not the thing that we are not able to do, but we won't do it rightly, because the things are not that same and okay to do it for us, for the safety of ourselves and for the safety of others. So human culture, if we talk about, I would come to Dr. Partho and know from him how, according to you, the human cultures have changed, customs have changed, and is it for the good? Again, I will give you a second question. Or is it for the bad, in a bad way or in a good way? So over to you.
Well, actually, yes, it's something which is quite extraordinary to study, is how the new human being is behaving. The human behavior is absolutely is an adaptation. We are one of the best adapting individuals. We fit into the situation, and we are known for it, isn't it? So obviously, something like co-evolution. So you put me in a situation, I'm going to come out with flying colors, adapting to the whole stuff. So I'm extremely positive that yes.
Call me, baby.
What happens is people always think that we have been caught up in a jail. We are in a situation of a jailed situation. We are in a cage situation. We are not able to do exactly what we were doing before. But I think, as I said, we are adapting very fast. In fact, as Deep pointed out, this could go on, and things may not change for many people. I mean, they might be flourishing and coming out with the new entrepreneur ideas. Now, one of the greatest help in thing which is helping us in adapting to the new situation, the new world, is digital. And people who are connected to the digital world, like me, who has been outsourcing jobs for the last 12 years, when the word outsourcing wasn't there and people hardly knew what the word outsourcing was. And I was just sitting in my office, and I was outsourcing people in the laboratory in Poland. People in Turkey were buying my product. An Australian guy was giving me the active ingredient in his shipping by the air. I was outsourcing. The chemistry was in my head, and I was formulating products all over the world. People didn't know exactly where this company is, and I used to call myself as a manufacturer. My business card was manufacturer, but he said, "Where's the factory?" I said, "It's all in the head." Now, people didn't understand what this guy is. Maybe he's a mad guy. So anyway, that's a different story. But that's what it is. Outsourcing was the thing which made me a manufacturer sitting in my room, in my sofa and a couch. I hadn't gone anywhere. I just had the chemistry in my head. Now, that's what I said. Humans can adapt. So the digital world is actually helping us adapt. You talked about, people gave me examples about how education system is moving towards digitalization. Deep was talking about his business, which is totally business wise. He's using digital platforms to run his business. So yes, the new norm is a digital norm where we will be physically, we'll not be seeing people as much as we have been seeing before, but we'll be just doing all the work. So that's a behavioral change. That digital change is a big shift in education, in hospitality, in research. Now I'll tell you, that this time has come when robotics and artificial intelligence are going to dominate the world now. We are actually going into robotics. A lot of things are actually being manufactured by robots now. Everything will be given to robots to design and execute. And to fast track our conclusion, come to a conclusion, we are going to use lots of artificial intelligence. Now today in medicine, new drug discovery, and the type of business I do is in chemicals. We are using artificial intelligence to see what the future is. What compounds we are going to develop in 50 years are going to be designed by the computer right now in front of me. Today, people are synthesizing music using artificial intelligence. They're even trying to create a story, a love story, by using artificial intelligence. They get the best love stories in the world and put in the computer and say the computer, "Hey, computer, come out with the best blockbuster. Can you come out with it?" So we are looking into these synthetic situations of music, composing art, even to science, medicine, technology, designing cars. Artificial intelligence is used. So yes, the only trouble is the world is going to be divided into two sections: those who are digitally savvy and those who have not come to that. So now we have two worlds: one who controls the world using digital media, using artificial intelligence and computers and stuff like that. Then there's another world which will be totally lag behind. So obviously this new norms is creating two different worlds: the haves and have-nots. And haves and have-nots is not based on money, but digital access to digital world. So for digital world to be creative, like person who started with the $0 in pocket and become calling himself a manufacturer, it was the digital world would transform me. It was the idea and no money in the pocket and connection. But yes, I was computer savvy. I knew exactly how to use the internet. I am born in the 80s. I grew when the internet came in. Without the world was not having internet. Then ABC of internet started, and I grew up with that. So yes, as you said, that human behavior is going to drastically be challenged. The world will be divided into two halves: the one which will be digitally savvy, because everything is moving to that platform. There is no way I can say that we will go to the classical world again. Yes, the farmers will still farm, but those seeds are produced using science, which are artificial intelligence are there, which are involved into designing those seeds. Monsanto, for example, I've been working and using artificial intelligence. I know them. I know colleagues who are working in artificial intelligence, but they are agronomists. Imagine farming has become like that. I have friends who work in companies who have 25-story, 30-story buildings, high skyscrapers in Singapore, which is just growing crops, pepper, lettuce, and tomatoes, and salad. So these are all controlled by digital and remote sensing and artificial intelligence. So the world is now dividing into two, and behaviorally humans will be also divided into two halves. I believe those who are tech savvy will remain alive. They'll kick up the business than those who will lag behind. Obviously, cultural things come in here. But what is the culture? What is the culture in the 21st century? What is the culture in the 22nd century? The next century will come in. I think we are moving towards adapting a virtual world, and the virtual meeting you virtually is possibly will be the virtual meeting we'll be talking about. I think 20 years from now, I don't think people will travel. They will not go to see their parents, or they will not go. They will just say to dad, come out to the computer. I'm going to see you and say hi, hello, and they're happy. So it's we're going to transform our happiness that I saw him on the computer rather than saw him in physically. So these are just, again, I said, it's all in the mind, all in the mind, how we're going to adapt to it. Yes, people are resisting to it. They are against the digital. They are against the new norms. But I think the new thing is all about a new way of going about. So I think there's going to be massive changes in human behavior, and in office things are going to change. The way we work will change. The workplaces will change. I will not hardly go to the office. You'll not even ask your staff to report to the office. He said, hey, come over the video. I'm going to give you a call, and that's it, finish, you're over. So behaviorally, yes, massive changes will take place in the society. But yes, as everybody said, digital things will going to play, even though I don't like it or you don't like it, that everything will go digitalized. But we can stop the way things are happening. It's happening so fast. What we think today, that computers are thinking 5 years ahead of us. So we follow the computer. We love the computer. Why my son, who was just 6-year-old, he loved the computer. He can't give out. Why? He thinks that's the smartest thing. He's more smart than the dad. The computer is more smart than my mom. The computer is more smart than my teachers. He loved the computer. He loves the iPad. He loves the iPhone simply because he found not the digital fact. He found that the machine is more intelligent than human. That's the love. That's why my son and the kids, the new generation kids, are loving these devices, because they find those devices are more intelligent than the dad, mom, grandmother, grandfather, and the teacher. That's the love. He can get anything down there. So don't you think that's a behavioral change? That's a massive behavioral change has taken place in our kids now. The millennials don't stay back in the office. They are into the digital world. Why? They found themselves intelligent. It reports everything. It tells you everything. Everything comes up and click. And that's what the world is all about. So yes, behavior is very important. I think our relationship will change also over the time when the digital world takes over. And it's something fascinating to watch. Well, I'm not in that generation, but I'm trying to adapt as fast as possible. But it'll be fascinating thing in my life story to see that world where everything will be like sci-fi, like our science writer here. It was Akash, I think.
Yeah.
I think you
Sci-fi.
Yeah, you have more items to write to. I mean, you'll be coming out with more churning more books on this.
More science sci-fi fiction.
Digital relationships and stuff like that. And all,
yeah.
So
I covered black hole. I covered aliens. I covered. So next would be something else. Time machine also the last one.
Yeah. So that's what I feel, Ankita.
Great.
Thank you.
I think the way you mentioned about the fantastic method of evolution, and we all have been growing in. Like you said, we perhaps do not like it, but we have already adapted with it. Like just before the pandemic, there were a lot of things we did not like. There were a lot of things we did not like, but we used to do them. But similarly, likewise now, there are a lot of things we are liking. There are a lot of things we are not. But again, everybody is bound to do that, and there are no other option. And I think the best way would have been, or the best way is to carry on that way. And on that note, I have a question. Like you mentioned about the haves and the have-nots, like we were talking about. It's not now monetary wise, but it is to some extent, yes. But again, the access to the digital mediums. And again, we have a viewer, Awais Miss Mirza, who have been mentioning and wants to know from our panel that what is your view on the online education challenges, as we have a huge disparity in the rural and the urban in the internet penetration wise. So any of you, if you would like to take this question about mentioning about the digital disparity, if we talk about at this moment very briefly.
I would just jump into that. I think so. Things are changing there because of the fact of there's a lot of people who are not getting into internet through their desktops or through their computers anymore. They're doing it through their mobile phones, and thanks to the things that we have with Geo, which is making it available everywhere. and the telecom industry growing the way it's growing. What I like to point out is, like, I'm with you totally with the fact that it's the haves and the have-not of technology, but somewhere the tier 2, tier 3 guys also have the same access to the technology. And what's going to be interesting now, the next 5 years, we aren't going to be competing just between the metros. The heat is going to be out with tier 2, tier 3 cities. And what I'm really happy about the fact is that the guys in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, they have this fire to actually come out of it. They want to come, they want to stay in the metro, so they have the fire. And I've actually realized that it's just been like 15, 20 days I've launched my book, and I'm getting a lot of these requests from guys from the tier 2 and the tier 3 cities asking if I can get a copy of your book. I would like to read it. They have access to that kind of a thing, and they want to learn more. They want to get out of it. There are a lot of these kids who are still in the college, they're still in the school, and they're reviewing books. So they're reading books on a regular basis, and they are basically making sure that they're up to the guys in the metro. So education is just not going to be limited to your classroom anymore. It's all about when you're going to go out, and internet is available for everyone. It's totally available for everyone. You can get access to it from anywhere, and there is no limit what you can get to. So there is no limit that if I want to do a particular course, I'll have to sit in a classroom in Bombay, or I have to be in Delhi to do it. I can be back home in one of my tier 2 cities or tier 3 cities, and I would be doing the same kind of an education, maybe better, because I have that focus. So somewhere down the line, I see innovation is the key, and times like this is when we are realizing it, because the rat race is not happening. So we are just thinking about the fact and saying that innovation is there. Things are not working normally, so people are trying to figure out solutions for this abnormal state. So that's when we are realizing e-learning. That's when we are looking at the power of webinars. All of that stuff is happening now because of the fact that the normal has been challenged. The abnormal is the new normal, and somewhere down the line, it's going to be open for everyone, and that's the interesting part. And it's really awesome for India. I feel we have such a young population, and who's just ready to learn, and they want to be available. All the content which is there available, they're ready to consume it. So somewhere down the line, it's all positive. I look at it. So you need the willpower. You need the focus, you need the routine around it. But somewhere down the line, once you have those basic things in place, you're going to innovate, you're going to break through, you're going to do a lot of stuff when you push to the brim. You're going to innovate into doing new things. And these young kids would be doing it. Sitting out of tier 2, tier 3 cities, they would be building in the next great product, which we don't know of yet. And that's the power of e-learning. That's the power of rural India. And I don't think so it's going to be limited because of the internet penetration, because mobile is everywhere, and it's only going to get better. So we are up against, and the guys in the metro should just roll up their socks, and the kids should roll up their socks, because we are up against some great talent coming our way, and that's awesome. That's something which I'm looking forward for the next 5 years now.
Let's hope and see what happens with the digital future of digital education, what goes on with it. If you have any other points to put down for the education, we will go. Otherwise, we go for the next last round of it. Anything if you would like to say about the digital education, internet penetration, or other panelists? Otherwise, we go to the next.
I think what digital education can do to us is actually is a great leveler. So what happens is a bright, fantastic teacher sitting in Delhi. He talks to the whole world, whole of India. So quality of teacher, which is actually education, is the books has the knowledge, but the imparting the knowledge, the teacher comes in. What happens? You land up with a teacher who is not a quality teacher. So digital platform can possibly equate very well in such a way that uniformly education can be imparted. A good teacher sitting in Bombay can talk to a village guy the quality education. So I think it's a great leveler. I mean now the rural guy can learn exactly the same quality education and can come to the city anytime and do exactly. So I think digital is the only way to level this, to get the quality in. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, actually, I'm having a
Sure.
point here.
Sure.
Um, Regarding the digital education, I want to give you an example. What Mr. Parth and Mr. Deep has said. My wife is a doctor, and yes, she is from last 3 to 5 months. Uh, All India, I mean, there is some association, and they are completely in online classes, and they are doing the things. The quality of education, which is stuck up in some classrooms, is getting floated throughout the India who are connected there. This is very one good thing, but which I feel, apart from this example, there is some few things which we need to take into the concern. Is the stress level which we feel in the digital education is more than the one-to-one interaction or the classroom education. There is a psychological stress, and there can be a mental imbalances. Okay, maybe the span of 3 to 5 months or 6 months, we may not recognize this, or we may not experience this, or we may not think on this. But in coming to further cases, if this is a long term, this is a long uh, 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 term of planning or something, then this need to be taken into the concern, the stress levels or the mental imbalances of the people and how they react with the exposure of the screen time. So this is one thing, invisibly and indirect loss, which I want to point out on this.
Agreed to every point. Like we have been telling, sustainable ways how we can engage the children in the online education. We have been dealing with a lot of webinars with some schools, principals who have been getting into some sustainable ways how and to what extent children can be included in the screen time, and what are the things they have to be given in an alternative method to avoid the screen time again. Because we know likewise, when a lot of children are exposed to the screen time for long, there will be a lot of problems. They will be looking for other options which perhaps under the without the guidance of the guardian and everything. So there has to be proper monitoring apart from this, I think. And also the screen time, which is a very important thing, and doctors have also been saying that how we can take in other alternative ways, and blended education is what we can do now. So again, yeah, speaking of this, the new normal that we have been speaking about since the last hour. Work wise, I would like to come to Anil sir again. That work wise, what do you think the new normal? How people are adapting to it? The digital thing, like we all have been saying, it is now. We are taking in the challenges of getting all of these the adaptability of all the things that we are doing for work wise. But there are some work that cannot be done digitally. I think one such example is for your own industry, like where you cannot maybe think of a day for an industry how it's going on under teams under you or sitting at home. But that's a big challenge for you, for the industries, for the steel plants and all of these. So how has been the experience, and what in general, if you have to say about the new normal work wise? Over to you.
Yes, thank you. It's obviously very great experience, and which we never thought. Even me and my boss, whenever we used to sit and we used to discuss these things, just we wonder about the technology and automation which is evolved in the last 3 to 5 months or after this pandemic. Number of options, and the same options are also available before this pandemic also. But our minds has not diverted in such a way to explore that or use that. Such a very thing and very easy feasible things are there, and at the same time there are many things which can there are many events also which we have done physically, with one-to-one interactions with a large and huge mass crowded events. Now the same crowded events are getting done in the online with the same intensity, without losing a much intensity on that, the same program, the same schedule. We never ever thought also. Yes, I think in the month of Jan we have never thought that while when we wish the happy new year to among all of us in our group, we never thought that we are going to explore or evolve the things in this year which we are which the options are with us. But there are many great things, the digital things which we are speaking about. Most of the points are got covered, but one more thing which I want to add, the unnecessary travels. I mean to mention the unnecessary travels, because previously it was necessary before the pandemic, but after this things, now the necessary things, the most urgent things, the human mindset has changed. Because here again, the psychology, which I'm taking into the point, previously, if the person is not visiting to our place, then there may be a point of understanding, a difference in the point of understanding between the person to person. If he's not visiting to us, then okay, there may be some plus or minus in that, in terms of business or in terms of any agreement or in terms of any dealings. But now that maturity level has gone up to the almost a set of group or herd of the people. So this is one positive point happened. And the second thing which concern again I'm speaking about, I'm sorry, please excuse me, I'm just pointing out the concerns more where the people are speaking about the things, because it's the concern which we need to focus to have a long sustainable run in the show. So the concern here is the freshers who are joining in the organization. Yes, I am working from last since 1 decade. Yes, I am with the organization. I have a very good rapport with the people, and I have learned many things with the one-to-one interactions. But in the coming lifestyles, if everything goes on digital, what about the freshers? How they will learn? How my juniors are coming to my place and reporting to my team, reporting to me. This is one concern which we are also thinking on this. How the freshers development can be done with the digitally. Okay, this is still a question mark. With digitally the development of the new freshers, up to what extent we can go ahead in the industries, because we are operating with a very huge machineries and dangerous equipment and very huge chemicals and hot metals and very heavy material lifting loads. This can be experienced and learned in industries with the one-to-one personal interactions only, or in terms of software also. If we see whatever the coding and testing and development what they are doing, the more motivation and enthusiasm will come when the team leader is directly involved in teaching or experiencing or sharing the things than in this online. This is one concern. This is still a question mark again up to me personally, how this can be tackled and how this can be done. If it is not done properly, this may have a point on efficiency of the next generation who are entering into the workplace and workplaces.
Absolutely. I think the thing you mentioned about managing people, the people management is the core area, I think, which a lot of industry are working on, whereas it is digitally, or if it is also in a physical work structure there about with the how many people needs to come for a day or alternative wise, or there are some rooster facilities that has been doing. So people management, I think, plays a very massive role at this period of time. Again, if I have to come back to Deep Saw, I would like to ask that small message again with your concluding remarks for the entrepreneurs at this, for the pandemic, how in a business perspective wise, your view and your small message for the entrepreneurs there.
I guess, like we've been discussing, it's been a fabulous discussion on various aspects of it. And the best part about those discussions is that we didn't just take the one dimension to it. We've taken multiple dimensions. So with you on that, Anil, on the negative side of it, there are positives wherein the guys who didn't get access to it are also in the race. So looking at that, the message, or I would say the tips that I could share with the entrepreneurs typically is there's great opportunity in this change, and we should look up to it. We got to be lean to make it big is something that we got to do, because being frugal and building your business is the right way to go about it. So you got to be frugal, you got to be lean to make your business big. You got to stay on your word. You got to honor your commitments for sure. Maybe your employees, your vendors, your clients per se, or communicate that you can't. So stay on your word at those times. And I feel, and I personally believe that, and I always do that being persistent helps you to build more than being passionate. So when it's a passion alone, when you're building or jumping into doing your business out of passion, 6 months down the line, once you don't see progress happening, you lose interest in it. So you got to be persistent in these times. You got to be consistent in these times in building your business, because now is a time where it's going to test your willpower. It's going to test your focus, all of your discipline during this time. So you got to be persistent around that. And in the end, like I mentioned, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to put your hand up and say that I'm scared. Because when you say that, somewhere down the line, what you do is you get aware of the seriousness that you're surrounded by. So it's very important to have that fear, because you're serious in making those decisions of your growth, of your business. Because any business or any business in this particular scenario, once it's going to be post, you're going to start your business, you got to think in a different line. Maybe digital, non-digital, manufacturing, everyone is affected. So it's okay to say that you don't know certain answers, and it's okay to be fearful, because you're going to be then more serious to the situation, and you're not just going to expand for the heck of it. So somewhere down the line, to just put it up, I think so. These are the tips that typically the business people or the entrepreneurs or the young entrepreneurs getting into it should follow, I feel. And this is not anything to do with the pandemic per se. This should be followed post that too. You shouldn't forget this 6 months down the line and say that, okay, fine, things are hunky dory. Like Dr. Partho has said, it can just happen again. It might just happen 2 years down the line. So if you have certain kind of thinking like this, I think so you're not going to be that affected. So it's a wake-up call, which is good, I feel.
I think.
Can I add something?
Yes, sure, sir.
I think out of my own experience, I'm feeling this world is going towards generalists rather than specialists. I mean, this new world or the new pandemic, whatever has been created, people will appreciate multitask people who know a lot of things. So that type of human resource will be more in demand now than those guys who are specialists for one work only. So actually the world was upside other way. It was actually we were respecting more specialists before, and we didn't like the generalists. So that's why I wanted to qualify myself to be a specialist in one subject, and that's what my direction was. But now I feel generalists are taking over. It's going to be more the world of generalists. I need actually I am just giving the example from my own office, because my accountant can receive phone. He becomes a receptionist, and he even runs to the warehouse to pack up things. And he said, hey, I don't need others. I can do everything. So I said, hey, I'm not going to triple your salary, but I'm going to just give you your own salary. Maybe you'll get a big bonus at the end of the year. So I think we'll appreciate those type of guys now. As he said, Deep was telling that we have to cut down trim down our office staffs. So a generalist is more favored in this world, the new world, rather than a specialist. It was actually just the reverse before. So I think that's an add-on there.
Very, very true. I think very true. We always have been talking about, this person is specialist for this and you'll be hired for this. But now is the age of the multitasking. Like we even also believe in the multitaskers, and that is where you can actually, be sustainable. So on that note, I would like to come to Mr. Akash and get to know his view on this. Like we have been talking about how the most interesting thing about today's panel I found is we never had this note. We had lot of different kind of different people had four different perspectives, and I think that made this very interesting for our viewers as well. Like we have been receiving the comments, like it has been such an informative and everything. So the perspectives that we got, I think, was very amazing. Not only the positive that we all talked about, the brighter side and everything, also the negative side, which is also important. Otherwise we cannot focus on the bright side. Coming over to Mr. Akash, if you have to say a message for all the people embracing new normal, their new lifestyle in the work wise, in general, a message for maybe authors, for if you have to give a message for budding authors who are the college students thinking about starting off a book, and they'll be inspired by all of you here, like how your journey has been. So any message, Mr. Akash, for them?
Great, great, Ankita. I had heard Dr. Partho, Deep, Anil, both three of them have tremendously decorated the things in such a precise way. Like it was really informative for every sectors. Like the Dr. Partho said, it is the time of being the general person to be at the height of that. I was quite happy at that time, because I was feeling myself as a multi-talented. So people I was not into a specific trait. I feel that I should be known to everything. So I was quite happy, like when he was telling that it was a time for general people.
Your demand will go up now.
I'm overwhelmed for that. Let's see how it goes. So that was the thing. And Anil was also pretty good, like in his concern, like the way the people and new freshers are being hired. Even in my company also the freshers are being hired, but the freshers are not getting the way that we get, the environment that we get, the challenges we get, and then the challenges, overcoming of the challenges we get. We had grown so much in a year, that if the same condition will be followed for next 2 or 3 years, that time they will be taking for coming up to that level which we had attained in 1 year. So that is like the grooming happens when you interact with the people, when you have a fear, when you have a commitment, when you have a deliverability, then only the things can go on, and then only the you can put on into your efforts. So that was the whole together which so my suggestions, like as we all already had talked about the pandemic and the lockdown, the challenges, the good things, the bad things, and all those things. But yeah, the point that you have shared, Ankita, that how to start a novel, what would be the idea of writing a book or whatever it would be. It's not like you everyone have a story, not a single story. The stories revolve around you. Like you have to just to pick up one or two and just to mix up and just to create one of yours, not a unique one. You all have many stories around you, but yet the thing is that you don't you will to write, but you don't put on the continuous efforts. You want to have to settle down yourself. You just have to pick out the special time of yours to involve into your passion, to have to just embrace you, so that you can just drill down your words, love your words, like whatever words you write, like even if it is a sentence or even it is a para, you have to love that, like, and you have to modulate that. Even if you write a para, and if you write a para, read out the para after 5 days, then you will be improvising on that only, because a para can be improvised so much level that we can't even think of. Like the words are so magical, like it is like cut down to short and cut down to a bigger extent, and they can go such an extent that they can beat anyone in their word power. So that is the thing that everyone should know, like, and they should know that whether they are writing small, like in a very plain way, whether they like in a very vocabulary way, and whether they are wanting to write in a very different, like whatever way they want to, they have to just to pen it down, they have to read that though, and then they have to then just have to go ahead of it then, and in the next chapter, that these things will happen, helps with everyone, because everyone has like time or like these days, like okay, whether you are working in a company, whether you are a college student, whether you are whatever you are, wherever you are, if you want will to have write a book, you just have to sit, you just have to have a laptop in front of you, you just have to note down some words, and just you have to analyze those words. That's it, and that's the start of yours. First day would be that way, and once you will think of after a month, you will see that you have written one chapter or two chapter, or and you are passed on to the third one, and you are into the go of being an authorship now. So that's how you will build up yourself. And no, not okay, appreciation do matters, like really. I really agree, because once the author is not once your writing is not appreciated, you get demotivated and you step back very frequently, very very quickly. So for that, you have to write small quotes. You have to write like whatever things that you can realize that other can't realize. You have to write that in a short note, and you have to give them a rhyming sort, and that would be a quote for you, and that would be informative for others as well, because things are known by every person. Every person knows what is right, what is wrong. These are all there in the world. But when you pitch the point in the right way, very very precisely, that becomes a garden of blossoms and all those things, like happily things would be decorated in the mind. So for writing perspectives, it was very good for everyone to have to opt their challenge, to opt their passion, or to opt their love to into the picture. So whenever they want to start, it is a altogether time is there with them only. So that was really good. So it is really, I'm really loving, like whenever the things you read more, you read more, but you have to write as well. You don't have to read every time, so that whenever you read more, it is altogether becomes like you are looking to something else, like you are looking to the video, or you are making a video. Both are the different things. Then you are reading something and you are writing something. Both are different things. People can be a good reader as well, very good reader as well, but for writing, that is a different way, that is a separate chapter. For that, you have to take the initiatives. Initiative is very much required, whether it is in short notes, whether it is in long notes, or short stories as well. I had been writing. Okay, I want to explain that, share the experience. I've been writing since my class six. That was like I have been written many scripts that time as well, in sixth, seventh, and tenth standard. So there were many scripts that I have been writing for. So so first script of mine was an horror one. That was a Khofnak, which I gave the title in my class six. So that was, I was into those things, because it is that the stories are there with you, and the best partner, which is like writing, is there with you only. You don't have to feel of anyone else. Once the words power is with you, then you can conquer the world as well. You don't need a specific person to build up your world and carry on that world with you. It's altogether a world. Word is like not a small power. It's a big power for your life as well. So that is great for having out this into your life and making your life feel better and good with your word emotions. That is there.
Absolutely. I think the viewers, there were the authors who were all thinking of starting off their books, for the first time. They have a lot of stories in their mind and everything. Will get a bit inspired by all of your stories. So we have come to the end of the discussion, and we had absolutely amazing points from the digital haves and have-nots, from for business perspectives to be to persist and to sustain in every manner, and again to follow your dreams, to put down stories there from cultural behaviors changes, and again to talking about the not being general, not, being generalistic and multitaskers and not specialists. And again, we had a lot of interesting points that came up, and our viewers had lovely comments about how it was so informative and all. So I would like to take today's off for the session, and thank you all a lot for joining in, for sharing such points and making this panel a really rich one, with all your rich perspectives. Any closing comments which you would like to make, and then we would be signing off.
It's been great. It's been a great more than 1.5 hours spent really well today. So you can take it up as a productive day. We had such kind of good discussion. So I hope the viewers also enjoyed, like the speakers did. And there's been some great discussion. I always say that I've attended many of these webinars and spoken about it, heard about it. No one knows the solution. No one knows the future. It's only the discussion and being open to these thoughts is where we're going to get to at. So I think just somewhere down the line, that's what we have done. It's a good starting point. And we should have more of these discussions with more such people and different perspectives. So it's been a great time spent. Yeah.
Yes, and
actually, the good thing was that I think we going to end it up in a positive note. We are not giving it up, and everybody was positive about the whole fact. So the new norm is not going to be a dangerous one. It's going to be a welcome norm, and that's what I wanted to say. It will be a welcome norm, and we're going to transform. We're going to adjust our behavior. We're going to adapt, and I think maybe again, if we have a chance to meet each other, we might have prospered. He would have prospered with a new company, and he would have written another book. Akash would have written a book. Anil would have done some more social work, and I don't know about me myself.
That was altogether great.
Indeed.
Definitely.
And the kind of things we get to learn. The most interesting thing for myself is that the perspectives that we hear from our panelists is the key for the day, that the things, I have also filled my copy with the points that were that you all mentioned, and that is the most interesting thing. And yes, we are ending with a positive note that we, as our theme goes for today, we are embracing the new normal, and we are evolving, growing, and learning new things every day, every second of the day, in a work wise or emotional wise or everything as a whole we are learning. So with a positive note that we are embracing new normal, me and our authors are signing off for today, and we will be back with some other new, very interesting topic for you viewers. But again, stay tuned with us for 6:30, as we have a very interesting panel of Unleashing India web series of cybersecurity for national reincarnation. I won't reveal the name of the speakers. I want you to discover that yourself. The two very interesting and very respectable people that are coming at 6:30. So stay tuned with the Policy Times, and I will be signing off. And thank you so much, viewers, for watching with us, and our authors for joining with us today. Namaskar.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you. Thanks.
Same here. Really lovely.